Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? It is Tuesday. There's 49ers football to talk about, and above all else, I'm here with the man himself, Wayne Breezy. How we doing, Wayne?
I'm living large. I'm not in charge, but I'm living large, John.
Hey,
it's
man,
good.
we can't have it all.
Yeah.
Now, we've got a lot to talk about today, Wayne, because we just finished the 49ers' first preseason game. Didn't go like everybody hoped it would go. So we want to talk about that, some of the ups and downs. We've had several reports from Shanahan since then, injuries. Want to dive into that stuff too. But all right, here's the first question, Wayne. And we're just going to, what is it that kind of has you, I didn't like the way this went. Let's get this out of the way. What is something that's just like, man, from that game, you just left a bad taste in your mouth and you're just like, you know what? I didn't like the way this went.
Well, I didn't like the way Trey Lance played. And then I also didn't like the way the game was called. But I did like the adjustments that were made. And then I liked the way Trey Lance played. Hey, isn't that cool? Like how it kind of like rhymed. But no, just going back, like, you know, when the game started, I thought the intensity was there from our team. But you can tell when let me just make this clear. When Fred Warner and those guys aren't playing, the intensity is on a different level. And there was no intensity, no matter what no matter how they tried. But they came out guns blazing, right? First play was a throw. And so it was a sack. but I'm just trying to figure out why that look at first opposed to a run. And if you get 1 yard or no gain or even a tackle for a loss, I mean, it's better than taking a sack for a loss, because at the end of the day, you're behind the sticks. And so, like, I just didn't understand why it was that. But like I said, there was an adjustment made, and then you saw a better play from starting quarterback. So, tale of first,
it really
second
was.
quarter. Yeah.
It really was. And I want to say thank you to all the hashtag BBs for
And
the
the
Brady
CCs.
Brunch and the hashtag CCs chat, the Countdown Crew chat. I almost changed the name there. What's
Call
up,
me
Johnny
Brady's
Dale?
Bunch. That is so funny. You're never going to get that out of your head because we're the Brady Bunch.
I messed it up. There we go. Now, it's funny because even Shanahan talked about, 2 of the sacks that Trey took, he said those weren't on Trey. 2 of the sacks were. And so you're going to get whatever narrative of Trey Lance you want. I feel like you get that narrative. If you are one of the people that's just like, Trey Lance is terrible, unfortunately, there were some plays that you could look at and you'd be like, yeah, these were terrible plays. If you want the Trey splash plays, guess what? You got some of those as well. And so overall, I didn't think it was a positive game for Trey. I know that his stats and the quarterback rate and all that stuff looks pretty good, but I don't know. I walked away. Here's my biggest take with Trey. That wasn't Trey that I saw all through training camp.
No, it wasn't. But there are reasons for that. And people are going to be like, well, Trey reverted back to his old mechanics. I didn't think he did. I didn't think he reverted back to his old mechanics.
Were fine.
Right.
Yeah.
I just thought he played like a quarterback that hasn't played football. In live action. Practice action and live action, 2 different actions. Even in the joint practices, still 2 different actions, right? So, like, when he got in the every time I talk about this, it's always an excuse. But people keep saying it's an excuse. This is not an excuse. This is actually reality, right? Because I don't even expect when Brock comes out and he plays, I'm not expecting Brock to go and light the damn field up. I'm expecting him to kind of not be in football.
She did not do during training camp either.
Right. But your point was Trey looked like the best quarterback in training camp. But I'm curious to know, what were those plays dialed up? The day I was out there, that's when I realized, I said to you, why is he throwing first? Why not set up the first down with the run? So clearly, in my opinion, Kyle's working on something. That's my take on it. He's working on something to set up something for later. because Kyle isn't trying to beat you in the first quarter. He's trying to beat you down in the first quarter. So the thing that I got from Trey Lance is he can take a hit. He's not afraid to run. Like, these are some of the positives that I got out of it. And we talk about how Trey can't throw quickly. Contraire, Moon Frere, because on that fourth drive, it was naked bootlegs and tosses over the pass rush. So that's quick throws to me, and they were accurate. AF.
There we go. Look at Johnny Dale. He says mechanics look solid.
Johnny's the man.
Times. That was my issue. My biggest flaw or anger with Trey Lance was on, I think, the second sack that he took where Ross Dwelly, I think it was Dwelly, just ran a hitch route right at the first down marker, and it was there, and you saw him like look at it, and then he just kind of held it, and I was like, it reminded me of old Trey, what I was hoping he got away from. But then later in the game, he corrected that. It was whatever. Now,
well, can I give you a different interpretation on that? Because I had a different interpretation from that play. Because if you're talking about that second sack that he took and you go back and look at the play, he drew 4 defenders to Ross Dwelly on that play. So, yeah, it would have been possibly a first down. Ross Dwelly would have got cracked. And if you saw at the very top of the screen, guess who was wide open? Chris Conley. And so, like, it looked like, for me, the pump fake was to get everybody to Dwelly and then get the ball down the field for the touchdown. And so, like, what are we interpreting here? Like Trey has always been a touchdown guy. Big play. I'm going for the gusto. To me, on that opinion, did he pump fake? Yes. Is that hesitation? Yeah, I guess. But what if he was hesitating to make the big play down the field to the wide open Chris Conley? Then the pressure was just there. He just didn't get a chance to make the throw. And I compared that play last night on the show, John, to the same play Brock Purdy did in the Super Bowl on the play that got him injured. Brock Purdy pump faked. He held onto the ball as long as he can because guess who was wide open? Brandon Ayuk. And unfortunately, the block didn't hold up. The speed got to him. It deflected the pass. Blah, blah, blah. Everything else happened. So it all depends on interpretation. So, like, that's why it's hard to evaluate if we don't know what Kyle Shanahan told him to do.
Yeah, that's there. And unfortunately, every play's got to be under a microscope now. That's just what it is. Because just the narratives and, the injuries and the quarterback competition and all those things. I want to give a shout out to Adam Spence. Look at this. He says, #CC from Montreal, listening in Dubai. Keep up the fantastic work, guys. Man, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. Now, I don't want this to be a Trey Lance podcast because I think we're going to get to see some more of Trey. And I think it's pretty clear Brock's going to be quarterback 1. We've been saying that for I don't know how long.
It's clear.
That it was the health. If the health's back, he's good. I thought Trey Lance would be starting week 1 because I didn't expect Brock to be back so early.
Same
but
here.
As soon as Brock came back to training camp, I said, this is not a quarterback competition. It will not be. And I don't think it should be.
It is for the twos.
It is. Now, okay, let's talk some Sam Darnold.
Let's
go
Sam
some
Darnold.
Sammy D. I thought that he looked pretty clean, pretty efficient. I just finished my second half breakdown of the offense, and my biggest critique were no points came from any of his drives. But I don't put it all on him.
There's context there as well. I mean, he did look pretty clean. Didn't have the best throws. Even to me, even that throw to Ronnie Bell, I mean, that was just a better catch. It was almost an overthrow. It felt like Ronnie Bell got under it, stretched out, and caught it. So you chalk that up to being a great throw. But it was really a great catch from Ronnie Bell. But I tell you what, man, Cameron Latu doesn't drop that. That's possibly a touchdown scoring drive for Sam Darnold. So there's a possibility he would have had points put on the board. But, we can't go back. It didn't happen. So you're right. What happened was there were no points on his drive.
And I'll say this. What's up, Yatsik? I think so much of what Sam Darnold does is he's the best of all the quarterbacks in this is my first read. I'm going to my first read. Like, he's so quick. He's quicker than Brock there. He's quicker than Trey there. The problem with Sam, and we've seen this his entire career and in training camp, when that first read's closed,
he's going to pump fake. He's going to hesitate. And that's where the interceptions come.
And there was one of those plays that was definitely a turnover-worthy play where it got tipped by like 2 defenders. It wasn't a turnover.
Good point.
But I'm like, man, no, I haven't seen this on my Twitter line or anything. But this was a terrible, terrible decision. but that's kind of who Sam is. Now, if he can limit those, I think that's huge. So go ahead. You got something on your mind? Then I got another question for you about the quarterbacks. Then we'll move on,
because
there's so many other positives to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, like I thought Sam Darnold. Honestly, he looked the most polished out of the quarterbacks that played on during that preseason game, which he should. He has the most experience, right? So he should look polished. And I think the way you summed it up is he is a one read, quick throw guy. Period. It's when that breaks down. And so this is preseason. He was able to get those reads off. It's interesting because is that what the quarterbacks for the 49ers have to be? Is that's my question. Are you asking the quarterback, it doesn't matter who it is, to be the one read, quick throw guy and then find a way to get through your progression?
I think if you're with that backup offensive line, which was dog crap,
you put that in there.
It was dog crap, then yes, you have to. And I think that's an issue. Like, okay, if I'm a quarterback and I'm going out and I'm working with the twos,
I got to get this ball out my hand quick.
And so one time it happens, it's like, okay, cool. I'm not getting the protection I need. That was a 4-man blitz. I got hit in 1.5 seconds. Now I got to get the ball out. And that's another thing for Trey. It's like Trey was like, no, I can get this deep ball.
Right.
You can't. You cannot.
Right.
You can't do it. And on Darnold's deep throw, that was catch and throw. Got single high, the motion over. They brought down the robber safety.
That was the perfect read, John. That was the perfect. It was perfect. Like
it was
Sam,
his first read.
It was his first
read.
It was his first read, but it was because what the safety did. It was because of what he saw off the defense. The safety was off. He threw that ball. It was one-on-one. It was man coverage. It was easy for him. So I love it. Like but you get that, John. You get that, John, by playing football. So you're like, at the end of the day, Sam Darnold is the most tenured quarterback on the 49ers. And he's the most experienced. So he's seeing a lot. So you got to factor that in. Again, when it comes to Trey Lance, you got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. I won't put out there that this kid is trash or this kid sucks, because there's so many reasons to why he's not seeing the field the way all the other quarterbacks. Now, I know what the national media is doing to him. I understand that. But I feel like as a faithful, need to have his back, because we all know the true story. That's what they're not putting out there, and that's what's agitating me the most. Like, there's a story behind Trey Lance. There's a reason why he isn't developed yet. Don't forget, he still got injured week 2 of last year, which was his developmental year. He didn't get any many reps his rookie season, unless Jimmy Garoppolo was hurt. And now it comes down to he's not going to get those reps because Brock Purdy's healthy and he's good to go. So at the end of the day, he's just going to take much more time to develop. And I tell you what, for those that want to trade Trey Lance, you can get that out of your mind, because Kyle Shanahan is going to have his cake. He's going to eat it too, because God forbid things happen, at least he knows he has a quarterback in his system that he can get some plays off with, and he could win a game or two with. And I think Trey Lance still gives him that option. And I still don't think Kyle Shanahan is showing us what Trey Lance can still do positively. I think he's working on Trey Lance's negatives and flaws, trying to get those fixed. And I think one of the things you just did was point out, Trey, got to get the ball out your hand quick, dog. Listen, you got first read, but John, even going back to watch the film, you are one of the best film connoisseurs that I know personally, right? It's you, it's Johnny Dale. I know you guys personally. It's my man Tony. You guys really understand the X's and O's, right? So let me ask you this: so on that first sack, nobody was paying attention. You want him to throw the ball when nobody's paying attention?
Yeah, that wasn't on him. Even Shanahan said that's that.
Well, that's what I'm curious. But everybody's crucifying him because he didn't get the ball out of his hand quick. That was the first hesitation that we saw. Because I'm understanding now that pump fakes are hesitations. I get it. I didn't know that those two meant the same thing. But now I understand the language. When you pump fake, it's in hesitation. Got it. So it was good. It was bad. It was a little bit of ugly. But that's Trey Lance until he gets reps. That's going to be him. It's unfortunate.
I like this comment from Sean.
Sean Ferris.
He's awesome, man. Trey needs more reps. His NFL career and our team has led to a situation where he simply won't get enough. Without data, the emotional takes will reign supreme. Not fair, but Trey must overcome that.
You're the man. I needed to hear that from not me. Like, I needed to hear that, because I can try to remind everybody, look, I'm going to point out the bad, but let's talk about the good, because every quarterback's going to have their ups and downs.
Yep. Yeah.
Thesard, this is the man.
There we go. Clasardi says Trey deserves to play another play. Josh, who's the man, says Trey has the best, or Darnold has the best arm talent in the room. That is an interesting take. Darnold has top 5, quarterback arm strength. I put that up there.
But is that talent?
I'd say Trey. I put Trey up there, but they're both there. I mean, Darnold's legit. What's up, Walner? Did I get the boxes unpacked? Still working on it, man. It's what it is. It's what it is. Oh, we got a super chat. Bro Montana, thank you, my friend. He says, this Trey slander as fans versus the mainstream media. It's like that slowed hat flip in they tried the small town video fight. It's on. Yeah, there we go, man. Reminds me of that, what was the Doc fight where the dude threw his hat, man. Like, it's time, baby.
It's on, baby. That's exactly what he's talking about. It's on, baby. I'm glad when I went to Alabama, I didn't get to experience the riverboat.
Well, you hang out there long enough.
I was in and out, bro. I stayed, I hit it and quit it.
It's a different place. Now, I asked this question on the Q&A on YouTube, and the question was very, very simple. Who will be the quarterback 2 for week 1? So Brock Purdy's quarterback 1. Who's going to be the number 2 quarterback and the number 3 quarterback, Wayne, in your opinion? Not what you think should happen. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, if we're going off of the trajectory of the preseason games, it's going to be Sam Darnold. If we're going off of the trajectory of the preseason games, as of right now, it's a race. And so I feel like, here's what I would like. I want Sam Darnold to play first in this upcoming preseason game. I want him to go out there with that first, second team offensive line. And then you can start really kind of comparing and contrasting, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's going to go down? I mean, he's not going against the 3s. Sam Darnold also went against the 3s. So, like, he played best against the 3s. What happens when he plays against the 2s? So we get to kind of evaluate him on that level. So if Kyle could keep it consistent like that, so that way we can see. Now, if Sam Darnold excels against the 2s, that means he'll still be in the lead. Even if Trey Lance has a great, performance against the 3s. Like, you got to factor that in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'll say this, going to all the training camp practices, I never felt that Sam Darnold was ahead of Lance in any of the rotations. And they alternated whatever else, but anytime it was like split, Trey got the nod. So I'm going to say Trey number 2, Sam Darnold would be quarterback 3. That's my prediction. Doesn't mean I'll be right. That's okay. I'm wrong all the time, and that's all right. Now, let's kind of transition away. Let's look at this. 49ers are getting a lot of players back this week.
Excellent.
This is great news. So last time Kyle Shanahan talked, I'm going to list off players because it's a lot. Players expected to practice this week: Elijah Mitchell, Robert Bill Jr., Kalia Davis, Dre Greenlaw, Danny Gray, and Drake Jackson. So of those, we got 6.
You got 6.
We got 6. Of those 6 guys, who are you most excited to see out there?
I'm going with Drake because I watched what Cleveland Farrell was able to do against the Raiders. I'm glad that Drake's getting back. I think that's the competition. Who's starting opposite Bosa? If Bosa shows up. So who's starting opposite Bosa? So I'm excited to see what Drake is going to do. I felt like he was having an amazing camp. And on the one day, D. Wayne Breezy travels west. He was dressed to impress, but he didn't go out there and bless the field. He got 0 reps, but now we know why. He was nursing a hamstring injury. So I'm excited to see him get back out there. I want to see what he can do, man. I want to see what Drake can do, especially in his preseason game. And you got to remember, Minnie, he got that sack last year in this game against the Denver Broncos. I don't know if you guys remember that sack, but I think I posted it somewhere just to show a reminder. But Drake, let's see what Drake can do.
Yeah, I'm excited. And, I'll be honest, Cleveland Farrell, I thought he's been so good, man.
Consistently, yes.
I think that he probably starts, especially with the Drake Jackson injury and missing time. I don't know. Maybe Drake gets out there. Would you play him in the preseason game?
I think you got to play Drake, right? Because you're asking yourself, can Drake be that blockbuster defensive end. I mean, he's your former top pick that year in the draft, right? He was the first pick, and so you want him out there. Cleveland Farrell to me should be that insurance policy, that bonus, that little bit extra juice you can get. Kerry Hyder also had a good game on the edge, so like I want Drake out there. We put these players that we hold high draft stakes under the microscope, and then we pick and choose who we expect to play well. Well, I want Drake Jackson out there, and I want to see him perform. And I expect him to, because he's a freak.
I like that. Mosquito Killer says, I just want to see our D-line do better in general. Been a little depressing, only seeing 1 sack.
The pressure's just not there, Mosquito Killer. It's not there, bro. It's not there. It wasn't there in joint practicing either.
Nope, it was not. And I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of our studs aren't getting the reps that we want. And when Bosa's not out there,
good point.
Everybody's play steps down. I mean, if you can double Javon Hargrave every play and then one-on-one to everybody else, that's a problem. What a difference. Bosa changes everything. Look at this Terror Dome. I'll let you take this one, Wayne.
Terror Dome says need Bosa back versus McGlinchey in the next game. Oh man.
I wish.
I wish to.
My thing is, there's no way Bosa's playing, even if he signed today.
No, Bosa won't play until week 1. But here's the thing. Listen, if our defensive lineman, I don't care who it is, don't find a way to bully McGlinchey, we're going to have a problem. They shouldn't make this roster.
So who's our bully end that can...
I don't know, John. You tell me. I've tried to figure it out. That Drake is a Ben guy.
Cleveland
Farrell.
He plays on the right side almost exclusively. So,
he's playing the right side or the left side.
So McGlinchey's right tackle, but Cleveland Farrell plays on the right side almost exclusively. I haven't seen him much on the left.
I don't know. Can Kerry Hyder take advantage of him? Who's our starting defensive front when the starters aren't out there?
Yeah, Kerry Hyder. Cleveland Farrell was out there this past week,
right? But those were our ends.
Yeah.
So then if that's the same, I expect it to be the same. But Kerry Hyder is also not a bully. So the thing is, it's not even about being a bully. It's about getting low and just knocking him off his feet.
Yeah, we'll see there. Yeah, and I saw this comment. Eric, what's up, brother? He says, worry about the Niners' run defense up the middle. I'm not with Eric Armstead and Greenlaw and Bosa and those guys out there. They're just not out there.
I mean, Fred wasn't out there either. So when you look at this, Eric, I know it would look bad because you watch Zamir White run up the middle for 7, 9+. You just watching, you were like, what the heck? But, I mean, I know Kinlaw was out there, but the start of that defense was missing, and then you didn't have your starting linebackers who comes up there and plug those holes. So, not really worried. There's certain players on this team that just bring a level of intensity. When they're not playing, it changes the mojo of the way the 49ers play. So, we got to, it's a preseason. Yeah, it does.
Here's what I want to talk about. Shout out to Terror Dome. He's awesome. Danny Gray needs to start balling. So Shanahan mentions a week ago, Danny Gray's not practicing for soreness. Then he came out yesterday and said, he had a tight abductor/hip. I feel like he's got this golden opportunity right now with Ray McLeod out. And he's already missed the majority of it, missed all the joint practices, missed the preseason game. Ronnie Bell has kind of seized this moment.
He's seized it. We talk about Carpe Diem a lot on our show. When you get your opportunity, don't miss it. And
only
I know
one chance you own the spaghetti. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. and I know he made one bad play in that game. You know what I'm saying? One bad play in that game, and it kind of just deflated all the good work that he did in that game. But I think he's trending upwards. 100%.
He's awesome. I didn't like his returns in the kicking game. I liked his punt returns.
I did like his punt returns. To me, he was hesitant in the kickoff. That's hesitation. That's indecisiveness. He didn't really know what to do. I don't know if that's because of the new rules or what. I don't know. But he didn't he didn't really know what to do. So we'll see if that improves. I did like Deshaun Jameson. I thought he played well, especially in the return game. But look, it is what it is, man. Danny Gray, he has All right, if you go back to this game, a lot of three wide receiver sets, which means they were in 11 personnel, right? And so the three wide receivers that they used the most, right? Before they started injecting us with some Tay Martin, like in that second half, was mainly Ronnie Bell started, Chris Conley lined up, and then Willie Snead was your slot guy. That was your three wide receiver 11 personnel type setup, and they used it a lot. I'm curious to see if Kyle Shanahan changes that up, has a different rotation with with Daz Newsome, and Danny Gray, and is maybe a little bit more Isaiah Winston. I don't know. I'm just curious to see if he changes up when he goes out there in 11 personnel.
And yeah, I think, one of the things or narratives that haven't been put out there as much as I would like to, and maybe this is my fault, the wide receivers have stepped up their game. This wide receiver roster is much deeper than it was a year ago because you've got guys like Winstead, who was awesome. Ronnie Bell was great. Tay Martin, I thought that he didn't have his best game, but he had a great training camp. He made some big plays. Chris Conley, good Lord. There are guys on the back end of this roster that are making plays. Willie Snead, whenever there's a big play, you're going to see Willie Snead in the corner.
Always.
Doing something very positive. He might not make all the big plays, but when Snead's
block
out there, good things happen.
You know why? He's a veteran and he understands Kyle Shanahan's offense now. I think that's what it is. He gets it. He gets the offense. He gets what he needs to do. When I don't have the ball in my hand, I need to be cracking a block on somebody. I need to make sure that I'm effective on every play. That's what you get from Willie Snead.
I like it, man. So, okay, let's wrap up this wide receiver talk and this punt return, kick return talk. If I was making my depth chart today, tell me if I'm crazy. I want my kick returners to be, I want Deshaun Jameson as my kick returner.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. It's a toss-up right now between me and I like what I saw from Ronnie Bell, but I kind of want Danny Gray as the punt returner. What say you?
I don't want Danny Gray doing anything other than finding a way to be a wide receiver on this team.
Yeah, but man, he's going to be a punt gunner. He's already one of the
gunner
best
is fine,
but
you said returner, so it's different.
I want him there too. Yeah,
I don't think I know he has the speed, but I don't know if he has the wit, the moves, everything's not going to be where he can utilize the speed. He has to get lateral. So he has to go across the field at times. It's not just a straight run dart. So I don't know if I would like him there. I think Kyle Shanahan even spoke about that. You know what I mean? I think Ronnie Bell he would be better off serving purpose as a punt returner than Danny Gray. But we'll see what happens. Just don't put Brandon Ayuk back there ever. Yeah, not that he was bad. I need him to be the other guy, the guy.
Did you hear Kyle talk about Kyle Juszczyk returning punts?
Yes, he did, and Kyle's down for it.
Man. It's funny because when special teams period happens, everybody has assigned spots on the field they have to be in, but some of the studs like Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, excuse me, George Kittle, they just go off on their own and do whatever. Kyle Juszczyk is an amoeba. He will go over to the punters and start snapping. He'll go over to the punt returners and start fielding punts. He'll go over and interrupt the coaches and they'll be like, leave us alone. That dude he's hilarious, man. It reminds me after 3 Coronas, me at a party. I'm just bing, 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 bing. I love me some Kyle Juszczyk, man. He's the best. All right, let's go back to defensive line. And there's 2 guys we haven't hit on. Robert Bill Jr. and Kalia Davis. Both Robert Bill, shout out to Josh, the 49ers guru. That's his favorite rookie. A lot of people thought that he could lead all rookies in snaps this year.
It's possible.
Does he even he hasn't had a full padded practice yet. Is it possible for him to make this roster?
It's possible. I mean, how many splash plays does he make? That's the question. How effective is he when he does put on those pads and gets out there in the field? Can he stack days in these practices coming up against Denver? Then if he does stack the days, can he go out there and utilize his special, situation, which is his speed? That's what he does. I mean, he's the get off is fast and he can get around a guy, man. If you can get him to be our Hassan Reddick, right. Yes. That's what he was built to be. That's what he was built to be. So that is what we're hoping for, what we're aiming for with Robert Bill Jr. Now the only issue is he has to find a way to stay healthy.
Right. And so, again, I'm seeing in the chat, maybe I didn't explain this very well. These are all players who have not practiced. Kalia Davis and Robert Bill Jr. have not been practicing, have not been playing, but they're returning this week. And so that's huge. So can they do enough to make a splash to make this roster is my question. You got guys like Taco Charlton who splashed. Alex Barrett's been awesome.
Yeah, like that might be a player with some dog in him that would do his best.
He's been with us for 3 years.
And he knows the system, and that's a player that may be able to get some bullying going on that right side. So like that's why I said they're. Well, I mean, I don't even expect Mike. I don't know what the Broncos are going to do. I don't know. I just feel like Sean Payton's old school, so I feel like he's going to make his starters play. But Kyle Shanahan doesn't really care, so I don't think he's going to let his starters play because he wants to get evaluation on some of these other guys. So he knows. You got to remember they have to make cuts once. Like there's only one chance like to make, and they got to get it right. That's the whole point, trying to get it right. I think they need as much evaluation they could get on some of these players.
Yeah. And so I want them getting all those snaps. I don't want to see guys out there like Kerry Hyder. We know what Kerry Hyder is. Like I don't want to see him play it. I'm sorry. It's just I don't want to see that. I want to see
I know it's boring, but you want the snaps from the players that may or may not make the squad.
Yeah,
and even though Kerry Hyder is not a lock, I mean, he's more likely to make the squad than he's not to make the squad.
There you go. That's well said. Well said. Now, before we jump into some more stuff, we got to talk about the road trip, baby. We got a lot of parties coming, and if you're coming out to Pittsburgh, we got you covered. BD Peacock of Locked On just tweeted out him and Crocker coming out. I think Brad Graham's coming out. We're going to have so many awesome people here at this party for the Steelers. So the night before the game, we're going to be at McFadden's in Pittsburgh. Now, this flyer says 6 to 9 p.m., but we have been asked to come in at 2. So we're going to be there all day. So if you want tickets to that to guarantee entry, head over to 49ersRushRoadTrip.com. And then the day of the game, we got our tailgate just a few blocks from the stadium. It's 3 blocks north, walking distance, less than a mile. We've got an awesome freaking it's the truest of the true Pittsburgh tailgate that you could possibly have. And so the address, location, times, unlimited drinks, beers, premium liquor, all kids get in free with a ticketed adult. We'll be out there about 4 hours before the game starts, and we'll walk to the stadium together. It's going to be an absolute blast. So again, we're doing 12 games this year. Go get your tickets, 49ersRushRoadTrip.com. Have you ever been to Pittsburgh, Wayne?
Yes, I've been to Pittsburgh, but not for a football
stadium?
game. And I've never been to the stadium.
Same.
Yeah, so this will be my first time.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I went to Pittsburgh to watch the Mets play the Pirates.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know what my favorite thing about Pittsburgh is? All of their teams have the same colors.
Same colors, bro.
Gosh.
Penguins, Steelers, Pirates, yellow and black. That's how you market something right there. That's great marketing.
Black and yellow, but that's all right. It's going to be red when we're out there.
All in gold, baby. That's it.
And let me say this, because everywhere we go, like we rent out these facilities and we throw these parties, and everywhere we go, all the people say the same thing. Man, we see other teams travel, but not like y'all. 49ers represent. Man,
represent.
But the one team that we get compared to the most is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I love their fan base. I love the city. I want to show them up.
They're going to represent that. So that's a tough fan base. That fan base has been around for decades. So they're going to be there. But no one travels like the San Francisco 49er faithful. And so even when they came to Santa Clara to play us, they didn't travel like we travel. So I guarantee you the West will be all East on that day.
Yeah, there we go. And I got to give a credit to Shot J, our monitor. He is taking care of business, taking out the trash in the chat. I can see. Guys, we want everybody here.
For sure.
We're not attacking people. We're not calling people's names. If you do so, Shot J will remove you from these virtual premises. This is a positive environment, and a lot of the people that watch and listen with our kiddos. So have a good time, man. And we want you guys. Arguments are great. Disagreements are even better. But we're not attacking each other. We're not calling each other names. We're not doing that. That's not what we do here. There's lots of channels where you can't do that. we're not going to be a place for that. So we want to build community, positive environment, educate each other on the 49ers, and have a good time. So, yeah, there we go. Shot Jay, you're the freaking man. Now, here we go. I don't think anybody else talked about this yet that I've seen. Do you know how many injuries the 49ers had in the first preseason game?
0.
Yeah. That is the number one goal of preseason, to get out without injuries.
I mean, I could tell you. I mean, I could tell you why.
Do tell.
There's no starters out there. Look, I know this doesn't make any sense to anybody, but I'm telling you, these people try to get on team. They trying to make a roster spot. So if they're injured, they're not injured. I'm just gonna say that's a little tell. Like, these players are gonna go out there and ball. Now, there was nothing major, which is the great news of it all. But players,
I'm sure there's some bang ups.
I'm sure there's some bang ups and stuff like that. Like, you know,
but yeah, you get injured, you're back into the roster, you're done.
Woo, that sucks, man. That's the sport. You can only pick 53. So you get injured, you make it easier for the coach. Speaking of injury, let's talk about Ray, who told Kyle Shanahan, listen, bro, don't you count me out. I will be there week 1. I'm like, Ray, how? How, Sway?
He broke his wrist.
How, Ray? What you gonna do, bro? Catch with one hand? It's a possibility. But I love that fire up in that young man, you know.
He was having such a great camp.
Great camp and his contract season, right? So, like, this is his final year.
And he's had injuries in the past, which is, I mean, a broken wrist, what are you going to do? You break your wrist, you break your wrist.
I just like the fight in him, bro.
I do too. I love it. I love it. And, you know, we've got the stories of Ji'Ayir, you know, sawing off his cast in the garage and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, these guys are gladiators. And I know Ray's not big. I think he's like 5'8". But I'm telling you right now, that dude, he had probably the most big plays of any wide receiver not named Brandon Ayuk in camp. He was consistently, and he was doing it with all 3 quarterbacks. Like, Ray was having a camp, man. And so good and bad, because let's be real, there's good and bad of every situation. Bad is he's hurt. That sucks. Good news is some of these young pups are getting some great work. And so hopefully they can escalate. And Ronnie Bell, your guy, let's talk about your Michigan boys. We got a lot of you guys.
Well, it's 2 out of 3. Like, I mean, listen. Let's start with the bad. Let's start with Jake Moody just being terrible. He missed. I don't know how to combat that. Like, he missed twice. Now the second miss was per play. It was far. It was 56, 57 yards. Now we know he can hit them, but if he missed the first one, you got him kicking one even longer. I mean, common sense would have told you he's going to miss this one too. If he missed that 41, yeah, like, but you could tell he was trying to correct the first mistake. And by correcting the first mistake, he ends up overcorrecting himself and kicks it the wrong way. Like, they were just both bad misses. There's nothing you could do about it but get out there and kick again. Like that's it. It's the only way to get over it. But it was bad.
I mean, I was laughing, man. I was.
Of course,
it was like
were.
Pure comic relief because it doesn't have any bearing on the game, like whatever else. Like, you get out of the way. Let me just say this: I hated the Moody pick.
Yes.
I completely hated. I'm not concerned at all about him. I'm really, really not. It's threat level 0.2. Like, I'm not worried about the kid. He's going to be just fine.
So, like, if Zane Gonzalez, I expect Zane to be the kicker in this game. Like, I feel like that's
kind of what Kyle said. He said he wants them both to kick, but
yeah. So, like, I'm expecting him now to take this game, and then in that second game, it'll be the contest. Like, you know what I mean? But again, experienced guy. I mean, and Moody missed after being iced too. So, like, that's
twice, both times,
right? So that's the context. Like, he's never been
up here. That's mental,
and he's never been iced before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they do it in college. I don't know if they'd even do that in college.
They can if they have the timeouts, but usually they don't.
Yeah, but shout out to Josh McDaniel for trying to get this young whippersnapper.
Shout out that dude. I hate Josh McDaniel.
Hey, man, listen, it was a game situation, and this can happen in a real game.
True.
So I'm not mad at Josh McDaniel. Everybody's mad at Josh McDaniel. I'm not. Shout out to him. Ice the kicker. Do what you got to do to get into his head. And I can tell you
this. Every damn team's going to be calling timeouts before field goals now for us. They saw
absolutely.
that.
They saw
every
it.
Damn time.
Well, that's the best way he's going to learn. I mean, like, if you want him to overcome that, let him get out there and do it again.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah,
Shit, if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'll call the timeout. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what? Timeout.
Yeah. I will say this, and Zane Gonzalez has been more accurate through camp the entire time. Now, does he have the leg? No, but he did make a 58-yarder in camp. Zane Gonzalez is awesome. I don't think he's making this roster outside of an injury, but the Niners do have a good backup plan. And I'll say this again. I would take Zane Gonzalez and Jake Moody over Robbie Gould this year, and it's not even close for me. So
is Gould sitting home waiting for the phone call?
Nobody.
Nobody. Okay, Keith Sweat. Nobody. But nah, like he's just gonna continue to sit home. First of all, his price tag's too high. Second of all, he just old, man. He'll get a job at some point. A kicker will go down, and then he'll get what he's asking for.
Yeah, I wish him nothing but the best. It's what it is. It's what it is. Now let's talk. All right, let's finish this show up, and we'll get to a couple questions. But Isaiah Oliver, man, I was shocked he was out there.
Oh, because he was a starter. He was terrible though.
But Kyle was asked, like, it seemed like every starter wasn't playing, but Isaiah Oliver was out there.
Well,
and
maybe
Kyle
he's not a starter.
Kyle said, he's not a guaranteed starter.
So, John, what was the rotation at nickelback? Because I remember seeing him. Is that where A.J. Parker lined up?
A.J. Parker came in with the twos, and they put Quantrez Knight at safety.
Right.
And A.J. Parker safety. And Quantrez Knight both played well.
They did. So,
yeah.
Listen, you got to go out there and do it. I mean, you could be hella dope in camp. You could be hella great in practice. And then when the lights come on.
This is who should be nickel right there, Randy. Womack should be the nickel. He has not taken any snaps inside.
They keep him outside.
But everything has changed. So once they close training camp practices, that's where all the positions. They move Leroy Watson, who was just on the left side, to right tackle.
He was terrible too.
I thought he had some good snaps, man. He had back-to-back pancakes on 2 plays. Like, he flashed. He flashed.
He wasn't the worst offensive lineman. I think the worst offensive lineman was between Nick Zakelj and Matt Pryor.
Yeah. Nick Zakelj was awful. He was awful. But they've also talked back to nickel. They've talked about Jameson getting nickel snaps, and they've gotten Ji'Ayir Brown snaps there during the alignment drill. We never saw him take snaps there, for team. So if you're in charge, Wayne, what is our nickel plan? What are we doing there?
I don't know. I think you start with Oliver, and then you rotate the way that they do the way that they were doing. But I don't know. Maybe if Oliver was going, against the ones, maybe it's a better. I don't know. Maybe it's just different the way he plays. But it's hard because nickelbacks typically are going to get beat. But his instincts, everything was just off in that.
He got beat in the run and pass game multiple times.
Yeah, and that's my point. Like, you bring in a bigger nickelback because you expect him to be better in the run game, and he's getting beat. And then, oh my God, the defense was terrible. Like, the wrapping and tackling wasn't there. It was just, we don't even talk about we always talk about his offense. The defense gave up 34 points at the end of the day. Now, some of that came from mistakes on the offense, but still, defense was bad.
It was
depth
bad.
is bad.
It was bad up the middle. That was my problem.
That's what somebody said earlier. Yeah.
It was bad up the middle. Kevin Givens, and we've said this about Kevin Givens. He's a matchup defensive tackle that plays well against zone spread teams. He does not play against duo power running schemes, and that's exactly what the Raiders do. And you can go back to the Raiders game last year.
Yes.
I mean, he just doesn't fit. He's a matchup guy. That's all that it is.
But
go ahead.
Now, because I was going to get to Ambry because we were talking about the Michigan boys. That's why I said 2 out of 3. I mean, Ambry had that one penalty that hurt the team, but other than that, like, I told y'all, Ambry just in the game situations, he's just a little different. Practice, he probably struggles. But the pads were on in that game, and he was all over the field. And he was breaking up. He had more than 1 PBU in that game. He also had a penalty. But he was on it. Like, he was on it. And I just think the way he was playing the position is the way that he naturally plays it. I think he's like Trey Lance on defense. If you have him do something that he's uncomfortable with, he's going to be timid. He's going to be hesitant. He's going to look bad. But
so let me ask you this then. Let's okay. You go through all your corners. You've got one spot left on your fit. You're already shaking your head. No,
super tough.
You got one spot left. You got Ambry Thomas. You got Deshaun Jameson sitting there.
You have to pick Jameson because of what he can get you on special teams.
Wayne,
Ambry Thomas
you're my
is
favorite person alive because I know that sucks to say, and it probably
does
suck
of me
to put you in that position.
It does,
but it's a testament to you knowing your football and not going with your homer pick and picking a Longhorn over a Michigan boy. Woo! That's what
which
I'm
is ironic
about.
because when we signed him, you were like, and I'm like, bro, this kid is gonna be a problem in the return game. You're like, he's less than mid, and then he starts practicing, and you're like, yeah, man, I told you about this Texas Longhorn, but no, you didn't. I told you.
Look how the turntables.
The tables have turned. Oh man, John, you are a caricature.
I'm just saying, Wade, you're the best there is, man.
That's
all I gotta say. Now, this week, just real quick, want to preview a couple things. All my Patreon videos and breakdowns, they're up. I'm gonna be on Wayne's show Friday morning, just on Wayne's show. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the way we're gonna be streaming during the season is we're not gonna simulcast. But the Friday time is going to be different. I have to get with John. I got to get a time. I have to do something for kids that morning, and then we'll try to go early that afternoon. So
Friday?
So it's Friday afternoon bad for you?
Flight I got to catch.
Why are you going places? It's football season.
It's business, man. But I scheduled the flight around our show. I will say that. But I might have messed up.
We could try to go earlier.
Well, TBD. We'll figure this off air.
We'll just get John to get internet on the airplane and we'll just go live.
Yeah, could you imagine sitting next to somebody broadcasting a show?
They would be like, who are you? I would put him on the show. That's what I'd
be like, man, I'm trying to watch this Adam Sandler crappy movie. Will you shut up? That's what I would say. Isn't that what you do on movies? You watch Adam Sandler crappy movies? Is that just me?
I don't think his movies be crappy. They be weird funny to me. Like
it's hit and miss. They're either
it is hit or miss. The serious movies he do, I'll be like, come on, man. Stick to the comedy. But there's some serious movies that he do that be hitting home. I don't know. It is what it is.
There we go. I like it. Well, that's going to do it for us here today. And I apologize. I know I've been like wiping my nose and stuff. I'm not feeling great, but we just so much stuff to talk about. It's been a blast. Wayne, take us out of here, my friend.
Yes, listen, guys. The only thing I'm going to ask you to do is stay faithful, my friends.